Hey there, this is Barry Schanz, founder of Mobile Audio Academy, author of Crossover Curving, here today to talk to you about shopping or choosing an amplifier. And we've got 6 baseline considerations that it is critical that you do not overlook. Let's get into this with number 1. Number 1 would be number of channels. Of course, this would be something like, are you running subwoofers or do you have front and rear speakers to consider? Number 2, your impedance ratings. Now, this is basically what's the impedance rating given by the manufacturer for the speakers. Usually a full range amplifier has minimum impedance per channel of 2 ohms, and then a lot of times people get caught up making the mistake of trying to bridge 2 channels at 2 ohms, and usually they are only stable to 4 ohms bridge, so you want to watch out for that. Number 3, frequency range. And if we go back to the example of subwoofers versus full range speakers, sometimes I see people asking online, can I use this mono amplifier to run a few sets of speakers in my doors? Most of the time that's going to be no. You'll want to check the actual frequency response range, the rating on the website for the amplifier or on the manual or on the package. If it's going to stop at, say, 500 Hertz, that's not going to be good for your door speakers. So that's number 3. 4, probably a no-brainer, but of course we're talking baseline considerations. This is your physical size, length times width times height. Think ahead to where you're going to put it in the vehicle. And you'll want to think about also your clearance needed for the cables. Sometimes that is forgotten, and then you're trying to run cables off of the end or the side of the amplifier, and it needs to bend at a very sharp angle, and then you might have to order a 90-degree adapter, and then it's another delay. Number 5. Power ratings, again, quite basic but essential. Very quickly, talking about subwoofers and choosing an amplifier. Some people ask about, do I need to think about impedance rise? And impedance is not a resistive load with a speaker, it's reactive, and the impedance normally only goes down to roughly the nominal impedance rating for just a very small portion of the actual usable frequency range. My guidance on this and how I would select an amplifier is to look at the RMS power rating, power handling rating of the speaker, and generally get fairly close to that. And that's the simple way to do this. Lastly, we have number 6, reliability. You can't find that on a website where there's a list of specifications. It's not going to be in the manual. This is where, if it's a amplifier that's completely new to the market, you are going to have to take a chance. If you really somehow are in love with that amplifier and you want to be one of the early adopters, one of the first ones, you're going to have to take a chance that maybe there's a manufacturing design flaw or a defect. So you want to refer to reviews online, kind of useful. I like to check with what other professionals, mainly people who run a shop or they do installations regularly, they're going to know if they sell that brand and install that brand that you're looking at. They're going to know generally which models are good and which ones you might want to avoid, because it costs them time and money if they have to have a customer come back and then they do troubleshooting and replace equipment. I want you to also go to the blog. It's got a lot more really good information. I discuss some of my own personal considerations for when I want to choose to change out a perfectly working amplifier and try something different, as well as the blog talks about some measures of distortion and a little bit about how that actually works with how we perceive sound. Some really interesting, detailed, deep concepts. So check it out. Thanks for watching.